So I'm very happy that you agreed to come on and just give your point of view of health and wellness from the fitness side of things.
Thank you for having me, Mialisa. It's a pleasure to be here and to share and, not only get my story out, but to empower and inspire women 35 plus to really take charge of their lives and stand tall and get moving towards a holistic lifestyle.
Yep, that sounds amazing. So let me give our listeners a little bit of background about you. So Celia Collymore is where athleticism, watch you get me bite my tongue though, is where athleticism meets professionalism. She is a visionary leader and entrepreneur who champions health and wellness with extensive experience in human resources. Her mission is to help individuals cultivate a fit and holistic mindset, both personally and professionally. Now, Celia is the founder of Bayesian Fusion and a certified corporate wellness specialist. She wears many hats: trainer, assessor, fitness instructor, and former national basketball champion. Her basketball journey includes being an NCAA Division II Northeast 10 regional champion. That's a lot. It's a mouthful. And an Elite Eight participant. She earned a basketball scholarship to Pace University, where she completed her bachelor's degree in business administration and a master's degree in public administration, all while working as a graduate assistant and residence director. Oh, kudos to you. Her educational journey began at St. Lucie Primary, continued through Coleridge and Parry School, and the Barbados Community College. And Celia, encourages everyone to get in the game, pursue and embrace their strengths and joys. As her favorite quote goes, you have to be in it to win it. So, Celia, could you share a bit about your journey from a national basketball champion, which is really cool, to becoming a certified corporate wellness specialist and a fitness lifestyle service founder? I mean, there's a lot of hats, but let us know these stories.
So, from a national basketball champion. So, to start there, I would say to you that I started as a student who loved sports. So, I used to do track and field, I loved netball, and then that became the transition into basketball. And we became Northern Stars. So, then with Northern Stars, learning to get to know each other, but we really wanted to be good basketball players. So, in terms of practicing, how important it is to practice, how important it is to prepare for the games, how important it is to be consistent in all that you do. Let me just tell you, when we start playing with these women, we used to get beat up.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
Beat up.
no.
And I mean, like, not only just physically, because we're not as strong and we may not have be as tall and as fit, but the scores,
Right.
100 and this to 10, 100 and this to 20. That's where we started. But we had vision for ourselves. We knew we were not starting out, we're still young.
Right.
And we just kept practicing. And year by year, we became a team to be reckoned with. And then in 1998, we won.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Congrats.
So let's say from 1993
Mhm.
is when I started to play basketball. And I also was invited to the junior team as well, and then the senior team. So I got to play for Barbados from a junior perspective and then a senior perspective. So in 2000, we won the regional championship throughout the Caribbean CARICOM
Nice.
Championship. So sport has always been a part of my life. I think it has been a saving grace in my life as well, where you know how they would talk about, children always getting in trouble. Nah, we didn't. That was not our energy. We just knew that we loved to play this sport. It really built community with us as girls, getting to know each other, learning from each other, encouraging each other with school, encouraging each other on the court. So it
Right.
really made a difference.
And
It was,
discipline.
yes, absolutely. Mental toughness as
Right.
well.
Right.
There were some talks around, boys were getting scholarships, and there was a guy that came to Barbados back in 1996, and he came to Barbados looking to scout boys to go to college.
Right.
Right. And he heard about us. There's some young girls in the north that are playing junior team. for Barbados, but they're part of this Northern Stars Club. You should go down there and check them out. And he came down and he met with us. He told us why he was there. He was admissions office for Pace University. And of course, he's looking for boys, but he heard about us. And when he goes back to New York, he would let the coach know that he would have met some young ladies here in Barbados. So that was even more exciting, opportunity to get a scholarship. And we just, especially me, like I just push even harder. If I have an opportunity to get a scholarship, that means I got to really improve on my game. I have to get fitter. I have to get stronger. So all of those ideas in my head, just go to work. It's time to go to work. Mom, dad, auntie. I have this up. It's not set in stone yet, but that's what I want for myself. There's an opportunity to get a scholarship, and I just continue to play, continue to practice. Um, and then in 1998, I had the opportunity then to go to Pace University and play basketball, where two of my teammates, they were there before me. So Sherry went up in 1997, Wanda went up in 1998, January, and then I went up in August, September of 1998. So that's really where how sport has benefited me. You start one place, but it's not the end. If you're really committed to the craft, if you really want to do more and do better, you have to do the work. And that was a testimony to all of us, that us as women, it isn't just about the books. We did well in school, but we know that we could do more as well. And so my first year was really, really tough, but I was like, you know what? Next year is not going to find me in this position. I need to be even better. And I remember before the season, my first year ended, I said to Coach, this year was really, really hard for me. I don't like this feeling. Can I meet up with you guys during my free time and continue to practice, continue to train, go through the plays so that next year I am playing more.
Right.
And they were very happy when I made that decision to commit to myself more. And so I did training in the postseason, came back to Barbados, told my coach here locally, here are the challenges that I had, and he literally worked with me. And fast forward, the second year, I became most improved there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I became most
Nice.
because I wanted it. And I think
Right.
that had been the thing for me, even into my adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
I want it. And when you want it and you have this vision for yourself, you're going to work harder. You're going to be even more focused. You're going to do things that will surprise you because you don't even realize when you have that purpose and that passion, it really drives you towards your success. And, I had 3 years to play. And then on our third year, we won the regional championship. And,
Nice.
I'm literally just kind of condensing everything, but it really shows when your mind is made up
Mm-hmm.
and you want to win, you're going to do whatever it takes within reason and legally to make things happen. And what that has helped me to also understand and recognize in business how powerful teamwork is, how powerful team effort is. I didn't do it by myself. We were as a team, we were as a collective. Everyone knew their roles and we made it happen together. So that helped me to transition then as a resident director, using a lot of my concepts in as an athlete
Right.
within the world of work, and that transitioned me into corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
And again, everything I do is from an athletic standpoint. You got to plan as an athlete, you got to practice, you got to prepare, you got to play
Mm-hmm.
so that you can perform at your optimum, right? So then that transitioned me into what? Bank of New York Mellon, working in HR, and how do I fuse the concepts and principles of HR but utilize my experiences as an athlete.
Right.
I might be playing a different game, but it really doesn't change my focus, my mindset, my drive, my commitment to doing great work. Yes. And I worked for Bank of New York Mellon in HR for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to come back home to Barbados. And that's where Beijing Fuchsia was born, where then I said, you know what, no one will ever make another decision on my life but me and God. And I fuse my passions, fitness, wellness, sports, HR, projects, and of course, entrepreneurship. And Beijing Fusion became a fitness lifestyle service, event management service, helping individuals get fit for life. So we're taking a holistic approach to fitness, your body, your mind, your spirit. That transition, though, from New York to Barbados was really difficult for me. I lost a lot of weight, was really stressed. Like, I never really saw myself as someone who I would say I was depressed. But when I look back at that situation, how do you give up 13 years? How do you let go of 13 years? You get your bachelor's, you get your master's, you get your certification in HR. You have this vision for yourself of doing great work in the US. And how do you not let that all go? Get rid of your apartment, sell your car, sell your things. And I want your audience to take from what I am sharing, because we all go through storms, right? My poem is called In the Midst of the Storm. Have you ever been through a storm? For me, for many, this has been the norm. The toughest season is not believing, and only time can help with the healing. It's an unbelievable process, and many days are filled with stress. But as I look back at my journey, I must admit that I am blessed. Has your life ever felt out of control? Mine sure has. And my soul took the toll. To feel like all I've done was thrown to the ground. And it gets worse when you have no one around. What does it mean to succeed? For a while, I forgot how that feels, for my heart was a constant bleed. Those who I relied on to give me a chance disappeared, went silent, left me in the distance. Sometimes I am happy, sometimes I am lonely, but will take it to the Lord who's holy. Sometimes I'm strong, sometimes I am weak, and quickly have learned be slow to speak. Sometimes I am angry, sometimes I am mad. Looking back, I am very glad. Sometimes I want to lose my mind, but no, it's only a matter of time. Sometimes I want to ask God a million questions, but have decided to live in the season, knowing that everything happens for a reason. And when I wrote that poem, it was done. I am no longer complaining. I am fighting for my life. I am doing what is necessary to move myself forward. And I remember reading this book called The Leader Who Had No Title by Robin Sharma. And what it did was it empowered me, because people sometimes get caught up with their identity in terms of this job defines them. It was that moment where I said, no job is going to define me. I am going to define who I am. And sometimes you have to go through the fire, yes, that pain, to get to your purpose. And that's what happened to me. Who are you, Celia? What is it you want? What's your purpose in life? Where do you see your life going? What are the things that you need to do? Who are the people that you need to connect with? You know, on this journey is going to be hard, but that's where champions are born. You know, you do the hard work, you do the tough work. And prior to me leaving New York, months earlier, I came up on this fitness movement, which was playing a lot of soca, Alison Hines, Rupee, Lil Ray, and they were pushing their product, but they were using our music. And it was so refreshing. When the fitness instructor was ready to launch, my colleague said to me, "This lady is doing a flash mob in Union Square. Do you want to be a part of it?" And I'm like, "Flash mob? You know what a flash mob is, right?"
Yes, yes. Do they still do those?
Well, I'm sure you can bring them back. But I was like, "You want me to dance in front of people? What if I mess up?" And he was like, "Girl, You live once. Just do it. Just tell the leader that you're interested. She's going to send you the routine. You practice by yourself. Then we're all going to meet up together, practice together, and make it happen. And I did just that because when you're at your lowest, like, what is it that you really have to lose, right? And that became my mindset.
Do you have a recording of that? Like, I would love to see that.
She had them on YouTube, but I feel like since for a while now, she's pulled them down. Yeah. So I did this flash mob thing, had a blast, told the instructor this was so much fun. She invited me to one of her fitness sessions. At that time, I think she was at New York Sports Club. When I went to that session and I went into the room, there were not many people that looked like me in terms of skin color. You had people from all over the world, different shades, but they weren't really African Americans or Black, one or two. But the fact that you're using my music, you're using our music, you're using our culture to get fit and healthy, I'm like, no, you gotta come to Barbados. You're not gonna experience culture unless you go to where it is. Prior to breaking ground, I literally had to come home and connect with people. I didn't know anything about the business world in Barbados. I just knew I want to do this thing. Who should I connect myself with? Who should I align myself
Right.
with to make this happen? So I'm not going to go into full details, but
Right.
that's really how the brand started. And once her and her people had a great time, it was like, all right, let's do this next year. But there were a lot of challenges in terms of making it happen. You had entrepreneurs and people say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that,
Right.
but they're not necessarily fulfilling. So there were moments where I felt like integrity was really low. And because she had challenges with some of the things that transpired, she then wanted to say to me, well, here's how things are going to be
Right.
if we're going to do this again next year. And by that time now, I had a mentor, and my mentor is like, you're on the ground, Celia, you're doing the work. You can't be doing all the work and giving her half. Like, that's not how it's going to be. And then my mentor was like, you need to close this relationship and close the relationship. And it was tough because that's how the brand started. But because she didn't see the vision that I had for both of us, we're two young businesses trying to make things, well, not trying, but making things happen. Let's continue to build this relationship. And over time, some of those demands that you have can be realized. They just cannot be realized right now as two new
Right.
um, businesses or
Right.
micro
Right.
businesses within the market. And it was like, all right, well, if I'm not going to do this thing anymore, what else should I do? Because the brand was just a project once a year, get people to come home for crop over Beijing Fusion. And one day I saw a blog post on zip lining, and then I would have heard that it was zip lining here in Barbados. And I was telling my friends, like, let's go try this thing. Because whenever I came
Tour
home on
stuff.
vacation, I love
Like
to
do
do
tour stuff.
the
Yeah. I do
adventurous
like to
stuff.
do tour stuff as well.
Yeah, so that's really what it was. So my friends, we did the zip line, we had a great time. And I was like, oh, let's go to Harrison's Cave. We did that together. Oh, I heard about hiking. Let's go hiking. So I literally was testing with my family members and friends for about 3 months. And then by the time where I had my mentor, and then she was like, you need to register the business. And because she was like, right now you're running a charity. So you need to now make it be a business. And I registered it, and she helped me with the systems and the costing and pricing and all of that stuff. And of course, it was still very new to our culture. Barbadians live here, but they don't necessarily explore like that. And more visitors will come to the island and experience and enjoy our country more than we do. So Beijing Fusion was really new. It was really new and it was really different, and people were still trying to wrap their minds and heads around it. To date, everybody's hiking, but back then people weren't really into that stuff. And I think COVID has made a difference in terms of people now waking up and you want to be outside and you want to get out and do things. But me being able to come back and do the whole dance fitness, what you see Spinny doing right now is where Beijing Fusion started. But we had a year in the marketplace, and even trying to work with other fitness instructors, other dance instructors, there was no support because it was like, who's this Celia Collymore? Who's this Beijing Fusion? Right? So those were the challenges that we were coming up against. But again, you do what you need to do until things happen or until people come around. And so I went into then the soft adventure and sporting activities as an athlete. So then it became do hiking, do mountain biking, do archery, do golfing, do horseback riding, paddleboarding. So I literally formed relationships with, pretty much my suppliers where now we work together to create experiences. So I would coordinate everything. That's really how the brand started.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we went through the phases of dance fitness and then sporting activities and soft adventure, it was time where I said, look, you need to know you love fitness, but you're still itching about this whole HR thing. You need to do personal development. You need to do training and development. You need to do why you believe that your purpose exists, right? So then we started to include personal development, coaching, and training. We started to do lifestyle workshops, team building, everything to really get persons to see fitness is great, but how are you performing as an individual? How are you performing as a professional? So we went from one service to about 7 or 8 services now, just utilizing my skill sets. Um, but now it's time where I need to build out a team of people, persons who are committed to the brand, who see the vision of the brand. And that has been the toughest challenge because everybody wants to be with you, but not everybody wants to work with you. Meaning
Right.
they don't want to work hard with you. And sometimes people just want to get paid, but they don't realize to get paid, there's so much that you have to do as a micro business, right? So sometimes you have to put in that sweat equity before you realize so much. So I've just been doing a lot of the work.
On your by yourself.
Yeah, I love what I do. I am grateful to have a very supportive mentor who is like my accountability partner, someone who not only empowers me, but she challenges me. So she gives me a bigger and deeper and wider and broader perspective around business. So there's a lot of homework that I always have to do, not only on myself, but understanding business and the different elements of business. So whether it's the finance, the accounting, the marketing, HR, even though that's my background, when you're actually a micro business now is very different. Getting the right people to work with you. So Beijing Fusion has been in the marketplace. December 31st will be 12 full years. And as I sit here and reflect with you, I am very proud of what I've been able to do. And I'm very grateful for the people, the groups, the organizations that have supported the brand, but there's still so much work to do. And I feel like I am started all over again, but just as excited and willing to continue to do great work.
Yeah. Where does the corporate side come in? Because you're also a certified corporate wellness specialist. So where does that come in? Because Beijing Fusion seems like it's taking a lot of your time. Where's the corporate?
It is my time. I see Beijing Fusion as a child. I don't have children of my own. So Beijing Fusion, I know people will always say that business is not personal, but it is, especially when this idea come out of your head and trying to make it happen. So I treat my brand like a baby. You have to nurture it. You have to feed it. You have to take care of it. You have to give it what it needs so that then by the time it builds and it grows, it won't need you as much. And think about it. If you are a teenager, you still need mommy and daddy.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Right? We're still in adolescent stage. We're 12.
Yeah, it's true.
People that expect sometimes success in businesses a year. It depends on the business. This is a service. We are creating experiences. We are shaping mindsets. Right? So it takes a lot more than just selling water or selling food. Right? And I think Barbadians happen to really appreciate services a little bit more and support service based businesses because really the service is the personality.
Agreed.
Right, so you like Beijing Fusion, but you're really buying into Celia. You're buying into her mission, her vision, her values. Even though the brand is out there, there's still that connection up until the brand grows in 20 years. And, we know that then I can move away. I don't have to be as involved as I am. No, but I have to be involved because if I don't do it, who will?
Right.
As you do your activities, all your activities can be transferred and translated into corporate. Corporate can still do fitness. Corporate can still do soft adventure and sports.
Definitely.
Corporate can still do personal coaching and training, team building. So I think once I started to do it in the marketplace, people started to watch and I started to be engaged. And I think it really started to happen in 2020, like when we came out of COVID, I started to get more calls around coming in and doing team building with the staff or coming in and doing fitness. But as I was doing the team building and the fitness, I realized that I needed to intervene more because there were a lot of mental challenges. And when everybody realizes what their role is and how they need to work together, right, and stop pointing fingers and focusing on taking ownership and holding each other accountable, then things will start to change within the organization. So that's really where my bigger passion is. I love fitness.
Mm,
When I say fitness, though, it's really now the mindset. So when I'm in
okay.
corporate, it's really the mindset of teams, the mindset of employees, the mindset of all the leaders within the organization, because everybody has a role to play, but everybody needs to take responsibility and ownership and hold each other accountable. And that's the challenge too,
Right.
having the tough conversations. Many people don't want to have the tough conversations, or some people don't want to say their truth because then other people might feel uncomfortable or they might lose their job for being honest.
Right.
So there's so much that you deal with within the workspace, but getting people to start somewhere. You got to start small and you got to build. And it cannot be, oh, Celia, come and do this team building session and then we'll see you in a year. It has to be consistent.
Yes.
Change can only happen if you set intentions, set goals, create a plan of action, and then execute on it while supporting each other. There are things that you can do by yourself as an individual, but when you're within a corporate space, it's a team effort. So I would always say there's no I in team, but there's an M and an E, which is me. And when each person keeps saying, it is up to me, it is up to me, it is up to me, I know my role, I know my responsibilities, I know where I add value. This is how I contribute towards the company. This is how I innovate within the company. This is how I solve problems within the company. When each person becomes more visionary and more progressive, the company benefits. But if you're going to go into a company just thinking about the money that you're going to make, right? You're really not solving problems. And you need to recognize that the more you solve problems, right, it helps to up or level up the company, which means the company becomes more innovative. The company makes more money, which means you make more money.
Right.
It can't
Right.
just be a take, take, take. You know, you're getting paid for your service as an employee, but the company can do more because you're on the front line. You're seeing the challenges and you have the solutions. And how do you have those conversations with your manager that, you know what, I saw this problem. I think I can fix it. I can't do it on my own, but I'll get my other team members and we can work together to solve this problem to take the company forward. How do you start now as an organization to create what we call entrepreneurs within the organization? So I am external too. I'm an entrepreneur. But when I'm inside working as an employee, how do you get employees to see themselves as entrepreneurs? Where now the company has the financial resources. They have so many things that you can use to help solve problems within the organization. So focus on more being a problem solver and an entrepreneur versus just saying I'm an employee. They just gotta pay me for showing up. No, they don't. They can actually pay people or find people who want to be more entrepreneurial and more solutions driven. A company has to know where it is and where it wants to be in order to create systems, create that value system, create that culture that makes a difference. So I love fitness, but this wellness, this me being a corporate wellness specialist now is going into the organizations and helping them become well
Right.
holistically. So, you know, you have accountants, you have the HR department, you have all the different functions within the company. So, how I want to function is to help them be well, take ownership for self, take ownership for team, but it has to be a behavioral change. You can't keep doing the same things. There's some new changes that you have to make. And some of the changes are going to be tough. It's going to be difficult, but it's important that you do it because you're going to grow. And how do people start to get excited? about the future? How do people start to get excited about the new change that they can get from point A to point B, and everybody wins? How do we create meaning within the organization? How do we get managers and leaders to be more emotionally intelligent? How do we get them to be more self-aware? How do we get them to be more open to getting feedback from employees, right? And how do we get employees to see they have a role to play and they have the knowledge, the skills, and the ability to add value to the organization, but they got to show up.
That's a huge undertaking for sure. And like you said, there's a lot of mindset. Um, as we know, in some institutions in government, can I say
All,
that? Yes,
all,
yes, but I find, well, yeah, that's true. All because I was just gonna say
even
there
as
is
entrepreneurs, even as entrepreneurs might be very talented, but they're not necessarily skilled. Let's use people in the cultural industries. You might be a very good musician, but you're not working on any other aspect of your business because you don't have the capacity. But and then you may not have the finances to say, let me pay an accountant, let me pay a lawyer, let me pay the people that can actually make my brand better and to help me grow. And then you have people who are just doing it as a side hustle, but not necessarily making it more formal either. So how do we get people to become more skilled versus just relying on their own talent, because your talent can only get you so far.
that's true. That's true. But then I guess I don't want to be controversial or anything, but would then it not be for management to invest then in their employees?
Absolutely. I remember there are times where management invests and sometimes employees don't even take, they don't accept.
True. But I think another reason might be because they don't make it like a continuous thing. Like you said, they just call you once a year. Look, we do we bit for the staff. See you next year if ever kind of thing. So I do think it's like a continuous and a continual kind of reforming, I guess, of the mentality. And another thing too is the highlighting of success or goals or achievements. All that kind of stuff helps to boost staff morale and like you said, the team building exercises and that kind of thing. Because I mean, before I became an entrepreneur, of course, I worked in a company, and like every year, you know, we would go on like a team building kind of uh activity, and it's just once a year, and you know, and yes, you do feel a little closer to your teammates and that kind of thing. But then for the rest of the year, there's nothing. So I feel like there, and it doesn't have to be money involved because I think maybe management would be like, oh, we don't got this in the budget, but it could be something within at work, you know. I don't know what activities. I'm not corporate.
Right. But what I would challenge you and challenge employees to think about is, remember when I wrote that poem and I said, once I made that decision, I was going to do whatever it takes to make me the best that I can be. Right. So your company may not be giving you all that you think that you need, but what are you giving yourself? What is it that you need to give yourself? What are the things that you need to do? And this is where investing in self, because the more you invest in yourself, you can be more marketable. And you may leave that company. They're not giving you what you need. But you know what? You decide that you're going to go back to school, or you're going to take up courses, or you're going to start networking, or you're going to start being part of a group. I did it all. I
Right.
was like, if I need to grow professionally, what are the things that I have to do? Who are the people that I would need to meet in terms of building out my network? So then it became, it's not their responsibility. It is their responsibility, but my life is not their responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
My life is my responsibility. So then I started to do day by day, here are my goals, here's my vision for myself, what action plan, start to create your plan. Start to think about the tasks, the things that you have to do day in and day out to bring you closer and closer. And trust me, it's a continuous journey, right? Because as soon as you achieve a goal, Another one is going to pop up and you're
Hmm.
going to work on it and work on it or work on other things.
Yeah.
So even now, I am not waiting on government. I'm not waiting on anybody to make the infusion happen.
Right.
Right. Over time, I know that support will come, but I've been bootstrapping my brand from day one. I continue to invest in myself. I continue to reinvest the money that I get in my business back into my business up until there's a time where I can say, all right, for this particular project, I would like to get funding, I would like to get sponsorship. But people are not willing to invest in themselves the way they should. They think that when they spend money, they're going to lose money. It's an investment, so you're not losing.
Right.
You just have to make sure that you are aligned. You know, the things that you're doing is aligned with your goals and your value system and your vision. So I would encourage people and I would challenge people to invest in themselves and do a little bit more, take more responsibility for their own life. And when each person does that, the companies benefit. And then when you have more accolades and you have a certification, you have all these different things, you can say to management, here's why I deserve that raise. Here's why I deserve that promotion, because these are the things I've been able to do. But here are some of the problems I've been able to solve within the organization. But if you don't have, like what people say, if you don't have any skin in the game and you just expecting handouts, you're not going to get very far. And that's the difference between an employee and a high performer.
No, I have to say that um, a lot of people that I have spoken to, women as well, are not specifically happy with the job that they're doing and the role that they have. And a lot of them have like deep passions, like you have for fitness and so on. A lot of them have deep passions that's completely opposite to what they do on a daily basis. So a part of, and I mean, all right, this goes back, like, all right, we're supposed to go to school, and once we go to school, then we get a job, and then you stay there for the rest of your life, kind of thing, right? Like that's like the mentality, like that you've been taught. Like, this is what you do. Go to school. When you finish that, you get a job, and from that one job, then you get you house, car, whatever it is that you go on your vacation, that kind of thing. So the rhetoric about continuing education and retooling and making sure that your skills are up to par. I think there needs to be more of that, because there, especially some of the older staff members that I work with, whenever there's something new that's introduced into the workplace, oh my gosh, to start complaining, oh, the other thing was better, that kind of thing. Like, and you know that those are the persons who are not interested in retooling, not interested in learning new things, and they're dead set in their ways that, hey, look, I get this job after I left school, and I can be here till I retire, and nobody can tell me nothing. Right? So I feel like it's a little in between, um, and those were the personalities that I'm pretty sure you come up against
Of course.
when you go into the workplace.
Everything comes down to mindset. When you don't know who you are and you don't know your purpose, you'll accept anything, right? And you'll complain about everything too, right? So I am that person that will challenge. I'm that person that will have the tough conversation. What have you done for you lately?
Right.
I am not that person. I'm going to be very diplomatic, but at the end of the day, which hand door are you waiting on again? You are responsible for your life.
Yeah, because I do think that if they do have like some kind of passion for what they do, or at least a part of the job, because might not like everything about the job that you do, but there's something in there that you like, right? And then just like fan that flame, right? So it really becomes something that you are passionate about. And I think in turn, then it will help you be a better employee, and or it might encourage you to start your own business and step out and do something different.
Yeah, the journey of self discovery, self-awareness. That's a key component. Was the other word? Emotional intelligence. Those are key components that people need to spend a little bit more time and energy on themselves. And how do you have a more functioning, emotionally intelligent organization?
Right. Can you explain for me your philosophy on balancing professional life and personal health? Because you mentioned helping people live in harmony with their career and like overall wellness. So, like, yeah, can you explain your philosophy on balancing the two?
When I would have learned about the circle of life, right? This is through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. I wanted to be a health coach, but the prices to be a health coach was a pricing.
Prices was a
Right?
pricing.
I'm like $14,000, and I trying to figure it out. Can't afford it, right? But once I learned about the circle of life and being able to look at your life from a holistic perspective, so you're looking at all the elements of your life. We live them every day, but we might not think about them or dedicate enough time to them. And if it's a circle, is a pie that is broken down into 12 components. Let me see if I remember all 12. Joy, creativity, spirituality, finance, education, physical activity, health, home cooking, home environment, relationships, social life. Why am I stuck on that 12th one? It's going to come back. But it pretty much is saying that you have to look at your full life
Right.
and not balance them, because if you cut a pie in 12, a little real sweet, everything cut in 12, but that's not how our lives are. Everything does not get the same amount of time,
No, definitely not.
but they're all important.
Probably two of them slices. Yeah.
There you go. So, what I start to say to people is you have to be in harmony with your life. So, things may not get the same amount of time, but they're important. They're priorities in your life based on your current life events. Because who you are as a single woman and how you live your life and the things that you do with these 12 elements is very different than a woman or man who are married, then they have children, or you are single, but then you have an alien parent. You have to juggle all of these components differently, but you have to treat them with a level of priority. So when you think about every day, all of us all over the world only get 24 hours on any given day. How then are you managing these elements of your life within a 24-hour period? Is it that all of them are, you're going to check them all, work on them all within a 24-hour? Or are you saying, you know what, over a couple of days or over a week? So today I'm going to focus on 3, tomorrow I'm going to focus on. So, with work or career, that's it.
Career was that's a oh I see it came back to you.
Career, there are people who's work 7 days a week. Some may work 6 or 5, but that career takes up most of your 24 hours along with sleep.
You need to sleep.
Those who like to sleep and see the benefits of sleep in terms of their performance, right? So, so I always talk about career wellness or career fitness as a key component of what I teach.
Mm.
And I started to do fitness, like physical fitness and dance and exercise. A lot of women would say to me, Celia, come in class today, work got me stressed out, I tired, I got the energy. Oh, so you're going to give them 8, 9, 10 hours and you're not going to give yourself any. Mm, Sounds like you making excuses, because guess what? If you get sick, right, and you die, right, they're going to find somebody to replace you. So wouldn't you want to pour into yourself a little bit more so that you can live healthier and live longer and perform better? Where are you making work the thing that is bringing you down?
Right.
How about you do for you and allow it to build you up within the workspace? Because when you exercise, It supports your mental health. It supports your wellness. You get stronger. You get fitter. You're healthier. You have more confidence, which means you can show up better at work, right? So how do you start to flip the script
Mm-hmm.
and give yourself a little bit more time? I'm not saying to you that every day you're going to have an hour to work out, but you could give yourself 20 minutes. That's better than none.
Yeah.
Isn't it know that the world is stressed and depressed? Maybe you should try exercise. Maybe you should try lifting weights
Mm-hmm.
by yourself or with others. It makes a
Going
difference.
for a
When I talk
walk.
about
Mm-hmm.
it makes a difference. Going outdoors, it makes a difference. Get your heart rate up, get your adrenaline flowing, get your blood flowing, those releasing those happy hormones, those happy endorphins. It makes a difference. People just don't give themselves enough time, and they don't see that there's so many things that are free
Right.
or cheap
Yep.
that can support their health and their wellness. You cannot, at some point, you cannot keep blaming work.
It's true.
So, how do you look at all of these elements of the circle of life? In Barbados, we have the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Ministry of Labor, who they're calling their circle the dimensions of wellness.
Mm.
So, similar concepts, they have them phrased differently, but they're pretty much similar concepts. So if I can remember now the 9 dimensions of wellness through the Ministry of Labor, so I am on the Promotions and Awareness Committee.
Right.
All right. So I think from 2022, right, we're in 2024. So I became a committee member for Promotions and Awareness. So this is an opportunity where I get to share. And there, the Ministry of Labor and the Ministry of Wellness, Health and Wellness actually came up with it first. But because now there's so many things happening within the workplace, the Ministry of Labor has created a policy, the National Workplace Wellness Policy, where they're encouraging employers to have a wellness programming within their organizations. Your employees are not just workhorses; they're human beings, and they need to be treated like that. And whatever you create within the organization needs to support your employees' health and wellness, so they can do better work, they can be more productive, and they can also help to innovate within the organization.
So I guess speak to the career woman listening who's like, Celia, I hear you, but for some reason I can't see it. I can't see like work just take up most of my time. And when I get home, I gotta cook, I gotta clean the house, I'm actually house clean, I gotta prepare for the next day and like speak to that woman who right now I guess don't see a way for them to focus on the other sections of the circle when it comes to perhaps eating healthy or getting moving or um, really looking for like some soul searching answers, right? For like her purpose in life. Like what I guess what advice would you give that woman?
Right. So as you were asking me the question, the first thing that came to mind was schedule your life. It might not be perfect, but you need to schedule. So remember, I talked about the 24-hour schedule. And I teach this too with my entrepreneurs when I teach entrepreneurship, or even when I teach within companies, 24 hours in a day. If you block, so you do time blocking. So you would do sheet of paper every hour. So if you start from 12 o'clock midnight and you go 12 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, all the way back to 11 o'clock, right? Start to block your time out. What am I doing between these timelines? So we know that sleeping is going to be a block. We know that work is going to be a block. If you have children and stuff, you got to get up on mornings, do all of these things to make sure that they're ready. So you have to start to block your life. And then it might be only 2 or 3 hours left,
Yeah.
but that's time. What are you going to do with that time? So now you're prioritizing. We cannot manage time, but we can manage the activities. So not only scheduling, but then the question is, how bad do you want it? because it has to be a lifestyle. It has to be a vision. It has to be a goal that you want to achieve. You cannot say you don't have the time or you're not able to. If it's painful enough, and it will get painful, most times that's when people move, when it gets painful. But how can you be a little bit more proactive? Now that I know these elements, you live them every day,
Yeah.
but you might not give them the focus that they deserve. And like I said, everything will not get the same amount of time, but you want to give them time, or you can stretch that throughout the week. You don't have to work out 7 days a week, but you can work out four. Choose those days, right? You might want to eat better. Start to add in good things and start to eliminate bad things. Like you literally have to sit down and think. A lot of people are not thinking deeply
Mm.
because it's uncomfortable. It starts to uncover things that they would have pushed aside and pushed in the past, but you have to face it. I say to people all the time, when you face challenges, you learn, you grow, right? And know that you have a support network as well. Like, who are your support? Who are the people in your network that will support you on the journey? Like, you don't have to do this on your own. Say to a mentor, say to a friend, say to a family member, a colleague, I'm going on this new journey. I'm doing a new thing. It's going to be hard. And I need your support. I need your accountability. Hold me accountable for the things that I say that I want, right? Um, so it comes down to how bad do you want it? When will you start? Do start and be consistent.
Well, in your words, you have to be in it to win it.
You have to be in it to win it. And in closing, I would always say to people, and this has been my mantra for this year and in other conversations that I'll have in the future,
Right.
but showing up as your best self. Showing up as your best self, no matter where, when, with whom, you need to show up as your best self. But to show up as your best self, you have to know yourself and you have to work on yourself. But you have to do that internal work. You have to do the tough work. You have to do the work where you're also relying on other people to help you do the work. So there are times where you might have to see a therapist, a psychologist. You might need a personal trainer to help you on your fitness journey. You may need a career coach. You may need someone like Celia to support you on your journey. You don't have to do it alone, but you have to show up for yourself. And when you start to show up for yourself, other people will also start to show up for you as well. So we talking from head to toe. You're showing up for yourself from head to toe. I am a whole value chain. I don't do this all by myself. You understand? From I do my hair, but when I have to go to the hairdresser and then my nails. So when you see me step out in public, my value chain works for me. This isn't just me. This is the people that supports my vision because I invest in myself, right? And you have to figure out on this journey of becoming my best self, who, when, what, where, when, why will make it work.
And you are worth it.
Absolutely. I am strong. I am enough. I'm worthy.
We invest in so many different things. So, I mean, make ourselves an investment as well and invest in yourself. So, like you say, you can show up as the best version of yourself.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks, Celia. This has been a great, great conversation. Love to hear about your journey, your dedication, your persistence. Like you have a mindset that a lot of people really wish they had, but you have like that kind of background in the sports that kind of keeps uh, that kind of mindset, and you look at things not as a game to be played, but
It is a game. It is a game. You have to be in it to win it. You have to play the game. If you're not playing the game, you're losing.
right,
Even when I say losing, losing is not a bad thing. Are lessons. So when there's failure and when there are things that aren't working out the way that you want, take the lessons and keep playing.
agreed. But thank you again. Thank you for your time. I hope that the listeners benefit from all of the encouragement, all the wisdom that you have shared with us today. And you have an awesome, awesome, awesome day.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It has been a pleasure. And if anyone is interested in connecting with me, they can connect with Celia. They can follow Beige Infusion to learn more and empower and challenge themselves to be their best self.